Um, it's now time to start our preview and review portion of the show. We are reviewing. We are wrestling with New Japan Power Struggle. It was last week, and this was basically your biggest show until Wrestle Kingdom, so to speak. Your first match out was Toru Yano defeating Zack Sabre Jr. in 12 minutes and 11 seconds by countout. Yano tied Zack Sabre Jr.'s shoelaces together between the guardrails, making him
Oh God.
unable to make 20 count. Have any of you ever had your shoes tied
So
so
you're telling
badly that they had to be cut off?
so you're telling me they made him look so stupid that he couldn't untie his shoes?
No, they had to cut the. They had to cut the.
What I'm just saying, they're making the dude look stupid.
No, I mean if they're boots, those take a friggin' long time to lace up.
Right, but you can cut a knot. I mean, depending on the knot, you can unknot it pretty quick.
This was also a no corner pads match.
I'm just saying, it
That's
seemed like
correct.
he wasn't. Like it sounded like he wasn't even trying. I don't know.
So there were no buckles, no buckle coverings rather, or no corner pads.
That is correct. The whole thing about KOPW is that it always has to be a stipulation match, and I think Yano drives in that chaotic environment. Was there anybody better to be the first champion of this new concept?
Yeah, that's probably the best choice. I'm actually more surprised that they actually got to a 20 count.
It's
Can
in
anybody remember the last time an actual New Japan match ended in a single count out?
the G1, Yano and Sonata.
Well,
Second match on the card, Minoru Suzuki lost to Shingo Takagi in 18 minutes and 56 seconds with Last of the Dragon. Shingo Takagi is your new Never Openweight champion. Um, what I want to bring up about this match is the next match on the card, the third, was a singles match with nothing on the line. Does that kind of speak volumes of what they think of the Never Openweight Championship? Mitch?
Oh, sorry. Can you repeat that? I multitasking. So
Scooter?
sorry.
Your thoughts?
Start with him.
Yeah, I've never really gotten the grasp of the Never Championships. Yeah, I know it's an acronym: New Blood Evolution, Vanity, Valiantly, Eternal, Radical, which is ridiculous. I mean, who? What are you? I'm the Never Champion.
Yeah, it sounds like some Peter Pan shit to me.
Like, yeah, congrats to Kagi, which
Kashi 6'9"? Nah.
which I think this is his fourth and NJPW title.
Kakage? Oh my god.
But yeah, the title could be retired tomorrow, and I don't think anybody would miss it.
And I don't think anyone will notice Takage as a champion, to be honest.
And that brings us to our next match. Kazuchika Okada defeated the Great Okan in 12 minutes and 58 seconds by
Good.
referee
Rainmaker needs to get
stoppage.
wins.
Just progressing the storyline with Will Ospreay, Okada, not the same Okada we've known in previous years.
I don't think he's been the same since about a year or so back when his legendary streak got stopped by Kenny Omega. I think after that he fizzled out a little.
I think he made a comeback after that. It's
I mean,
just
for the
after
most part,
joining with,
maybe a little bit, but for the most part, like it wasn't the same Okada. You could tell there was it wasn't the full drive that we saw for that 5 years before, where he won every Wrestle Kingdom. That was a different Okada. He had his eye on the ball, and it just felt like he was like, rightfully so. He earned the right to relax a little, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm just saying.
our next match, Kenta defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi in 19 minutes and 57 seconds with
Good.
game over. Kenta successfully retained his IWGP US Heavyweight right to challenge contract. So Kenta will, let's say, supposedly wrestle John Moxley at Wrestle Kingdom, either on the 4th or the 5th.
I don't think Moxley's. I don't think they're gonna be able to get him in Japan, dude. I don't think that's gonna be possible.
You think it is a possibility? Let's pretend we're not in a pandemic for a moment.
We've been like here since March. You know, it's gonna be like this for maybe next to another March or past that. So we just, it's just a new norm we've had to get used to. I'm just being real.
Considering that where more restrictions have.
Yeah, thank you.
Today,
not in my state, but in your state. Yeah.
Today specifically, now since we're now no longer allowed to have more than 10 people in our homes.
So basically, March and April standards are back.
And if somebody complains, the cops will come and.
Man, we need a gulag for these fuckers.
But yeah, I think it's a moot point to discuss Moxley returning.
I do too. That's what I mean by that. When
United States Championship.
Yep, I do. I agree, actually.
Okay, well, let's fantasy book here. Kenta, pandemic restrictions void. We actually see Moxley at Wrestle Kingdom. What do you think the match against Kenta?
If you want to do some fantasy stuff, because that's not going to happen. I mean, Kenta, because I don't see how you can continue Moxley and NJPW. So find a way to get Kenta the cheap win, I guess. I don't know.
I mean,
Moxley win, and Moxley would want that. So I think that also.
You could do where they advertise the match knowing Moxley isn't going to show up, and boom.
Yeah, they could.
It's by forfeit, and then New Japan can throw somebody else up against Kenta.
Right.
In an immediate defense.
Sounds like an NJPW thing.
That actually does sound like.
Yeah, that sounds very Yakuza-ish.
Maybe even Sonata.
Ooh, I actually like that. I'm a huge Sonata fan.
I like the fantasy book and Scooter's coming up with.
I've been a Sonata fan since she was in TNA.
And and just one more footnote: you can, if there's any acknowledgement of Moxley having the title, eventually we're going to see what happened in '93 with the NWA and WCW, where the IWGP United States title in America will be renamed, like the NWA Championship was renamed the WCW International.
Like the American title, yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that.
On the opposite end of that spectrum, Hiroshi Tanahashi, this was kind of his last big effort to get a match at Wrestle Kingdom. He went from like 10 straight wins at Wrestle Kingdom to possibly not even being on the card this year. What does that say about Tanahashi?
he's a relic of the past, in my opinion. He's been needed to be retired for a while. He came back out of nowhere in like 2017, 2018. And I mean, you let legends have their reign back if they want to, but they gotta check back out sometime. And I think now's a better time than ever than any for him.
Do you agree with that, Scooter? Do you think Tanahashi is kind of preventing the inevitable at this point?
I mean, the guy's got a career most people dream of.
Exactly.
Like eight-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion, 2-time Intercontinental Champion, 3-time Tag Team Champion.
And he was their John Cena like before they got big,
U30 Openweight Champion. He's held every New Japan credential under the sun, and I think Kaliko's here.
I believe he is too.
Probably if he sent you an invite or something. Yeah. All right, call. He does that every now and then.
Do you want to finish your thought, Scooter?
Is it time for Tanahashi to think about hanging it up? Yeah, we're probably looking at the legend role to get talent over while still looking.
Yeah, he doesn't have to retire. He just can't be on top. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Tanahashi can go on a string of losses and still not really have it affect his standing, so to say.
Right.
That brings us to the fifth match and probably our most controversial topic tonight. IWGP Heavyweight Intercontinental Double Championship Rights to Challenge contract match. Current G1 briefcase holder Kota Ibushi lost to Jay White in 18 minutes and 47 seconds. Jay White is now your title rights holder to challenge at Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh wow! Holy shit! Kaliko was right.
Which technically, vicariously means Jay White is now the winner of the G1.
I know Kaliko was right.
That's technically right. Okay, now if we had this conversation on the day after the show aired, we would be talking about, hey, Jay White, obviously they didn't want to give him, the main event, the G1 win, but they gave him the main event and all that good stuff. But then Jay White said that he will challenge Naito on January 5th, and Naito could wrestle whoever he wants on January 4th. Naito challenged Kota Ibushi for the double championships on January 4th, which is now confirmed by New Japan that match is happening.
Two title matches?
Basically, the briefcase means shit, and you could just get a championship match at Wrestle Kingdom for absolutely no reason now.
But he had to beat the winner, though.
Well, this seems like this is a very unorthodox way to get one title off Naito.
Definitely, but I mean, it's not like it's we've never seen anything like this. It's
No, it's for double championships. It's for both. It's IWGP Intercontinental.
But
right.
But they're gonna. It seems like they'll come up with something where instead it's gonna end up being one title.
I can see them doing that too.
That reeks of this.
That might be something, but this isn't. As of right now, as it stands, this is WWE booking by New Japan, right? It doesn't really make
Yeah.
sense.
Exactly, which is why I'd say this is probably a convoluted method to split, and it also makes me think that New Japan is iffy on holding two belts, and they're almost gauging to see if they should continue with Naito holding both belts, because I believe this is the longest dual reign in pro wrestling history where someone holds both top titles.
Well, it's kind of kabuki-ish as well because he hasn't defended one or the other. It's been both each time. But, I could, and this is totally a conversation I would have with Kaliko. You give Jay White the championship on January 4th. He fights Kota Ibushi on the 5th. Kota Ibushi gets his win back and the belts, and everybody goes home happy. Um, that's not how it's happening. If Naito loses to Kota Ibushi, who's essentially the Stone Cold Steve Austin of this generation, I don't see people accepting that. Do you agree with that or do you disagree with that? And is New Japan making Kota Ibushi a Roman Reigns?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I mean, because Ibushi also has a storied career, but Ibushi could also go another 10, 15 years. So, and looking at it now, Ibushi has never been IWGP Heavyweight Champion.
That's correct, but that's also because he hasn't been under contract with New Japan for very long. He's been with New Japan, but he's only had a contract with them for roughly 2, maybe 3 years at this point.
You know what? I'm gonna agree with you, James. I think this is a Steve Austin situation, and I think they're gonna let Kota Ibushi run with it.
You have any thoughts on the matter, Mitch?
Not really. I mean, just not really. The Kota Ibushi thing, it is what it is. I don't know if they're gonna make him Roman Reigns, but it seems like that's where they're going right now. I don't know if I would do that, but they seem to know what they want. So,
And that brings us to our last match. Tetsuya Naito defeated Evil in 33 minutes and 8 seconds with Destino. Naito successfully retains double IWGP Intercontinental Championships. Yeah, so this match way too many times in 2020. I will ask, Naito's going to Wrestle Kingdom, the main event. Where does Evil go?
That's an interesting question. I don't think we can tell at this point. Maybe
You have a best educated guess, Mitch?
can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Where does Evil go?
I mean, like, they obviously had a vision for him, and I didn't agree with it in the first place. So hopefully he goes back to where he came from on the card, in my opinion. But I don't know what they have in plan. I don't know why they started with him if they're just gonna drop it. It's a good question.
I'll go out on a limb here and I'll say Evil starts chasing the never open weight championship.
Oh my God, then it's really downhill from there, then, ain't it? Holy moly!
And that will conclude our coverage of NJPW Power Struggle.